Welcome back, everybody, to the David Pakman Show. Luke Beasley here, filling in for David today while he is away. I don't want to waste any time, so let's just jump right in. Donald Trump spoke over the weekend at the Faith and Freedom Coalition event in Nashville, Tennessee. This was one of his first chances, actually his first chance in speech form at least, to address the bombshells that have been revealed in the 3 January 6 hearings that have happened so far. And it was also a chance for him to do, what he normally does in speeches, which is go through his greatest hits of talking points and then kind of get on random tangents about random things. So we're going to be looking at some of the moments from that speech today, starting with Trump saying that no teacher should be teaching students transgender. What that means, I don't know. Not about transgender people, not any way you could say that properly. About transgender, singular. Let's take a look.
Pushing woke gender ideology. Woke gender ideology, think of it, on young people is nothing less than child abuse. No teacher should ever be allowed to teach transgender to our children without the parents' consent. And I don't think too many people are going to be giving that consent, Mark. Not too many.
Man, we gotta keep those teachers from teaching about transgender. Wow. Of course, he's playing into the right's favorite fear-mongering device as of late, which is the LGBTQ community, doing everything they can to make their followers distracted from anything except being afraid of people who are not like them. Then Trump moved on to speaking about the public January 6 hearings and went on this tangent about how great of a nickname the Unselect Committee is, what he calls it. It's the Select Committee investigating January 6th, but he calls it the Unselect Committee. And he was very proud of coming up with this nickname. And I was actually watching his speech on my own live stream, which you can subscribe to my channel at Luke Beasley on YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube or listening to the podcast, there will be a link in the description. You can just click it, go to my channel, subscribe. Or if you listen to podcasts, I also put it out in audio form so you can search my name on any podcast listening platform. But I was watching his speech on a live stream and he got into this tangent about, the Unselect Committee. Isn't that such a great nickname? And for some reason, it just tickled me so much. So I had to include it. Here's that.
Being staged by the Unselect Committee. I love that name, Unselect. They actually act, they hate it, right? But they act like there's nothing wrong because they just don't want it. They're very good at what they do. They're con people. They're con artists. I say the Unselect, is supposed to be the Select Committee on January, like these people are legitimate. The Unselects. So I call them the Unselects. And they act like, they never mention it. I think it's one of the great. They never mention it. Someday they'll give me credit for that term. I had a lot of good terms. We had a lot of good nicknames, didn't we? Didn't we have great nicknames? I think this is one of the best. I don't know. It's not catching on because they won't let it catch on.
Just a genius of comedy and of burns. Man, I can't even take it. And then he moved on to talking about how calm of a speech January 6th was. He said it possibly was his calmest speech that he's ever given. Wow. Can you believe it?
To various speeches, including one I gave. Remember the calm words I used? They try and make them sound like that might have been the calmest speech I think I've ever made, if you want to know. I've had a couple of senators say, I never knew you could be so nice.
Next, he points out that for some reason, the January 6 hearings aren't focused on the election lies that I've been telling. Of course, in his mind, they're not focusing on the massive fraud, or he called it the stuff we want to hear. They're not focusing on the stuff we want to hear. Let's go ahead and take a look at that.
How crooked it was. Meanwhile, the committee refuses to play any of the tape of people saying the good things, the things that we want to hear. It's a one-way street. It's a rigged deal.
Can you imagine? The January 6 hearing is not spending time focusing on the lies that caused the event that the January 6 hearing is even looking into. Wild. Finally, he decides to go ahead and talk about Mike Pence. And in that, he denies that he called Mike Pence a wimp, which is one of the things that came out of these hearings, was people saying they remembered him taking this really harsh tone against Mike Pence and calling him a wimp, as well as other things. But apparently that didn't happen, according to Trump.
One guy got up and said that he heard me calling Mike Pence a wimp. Now, in honesty, I'm the President of the United States. I'm sitting, I think they said at my desk, He's a wimp. How many people listen to me? It's like, I don't even know who these people are. But I never called Mike Pence a wimp. I never called him a wimp. Mike Pence had a chance to be great. He had a chance to be, frankly, historic. But just like Bill Barr and the rest of these weak people, Mike, and I say it sadly because I like him, but Mike did not have the courage to act.
So there we go. Nothing too surprising from him in his response. Just going on with the same lies about the 2020 election, pretending that Pence should have stepped in the way of our constitutional process. And he's just further increasing the likelihood that they will attempt to do this again, and maybe it'll be successful next time. And that's what really scares me. All the evidence that has come out during these hearings hasn't made him stop for one moment to think, maybe I should go ahead and move on from this. And obviously, I didn't think he was going to come out and become this defender of democracy and, revoke all the things he said before. No, but I at least hoped it would be so embarrassing, the hard evidence that was presented in these hearings, which I think they've done a good job of doing. But I was hoping that would at least get him to go, I'm going to back off of this a little bit, even if I'm not going to ever change what I believe or change what I say publicly. I'm just going to stop talking about it so much. But no, his only response to all of this is to keep telling the lies that got us into this mess. And that is very, very frightening.
One of our longtime sponsors is Monk Pack, offering delicious sweet granola bars and nut and seed bars with only 1 gram of sugar or less, 2 to 3 net carbs, perfect if you do keto, and 150 calories or under. So you can enjoy a sweet, satisfying, crunchy snack without the guilt. Their granola bars come in flavors like peanut butter, coconut cocoa chip, honey nut, my favorite, blueberry almond vanilla. Monk Pack nut and seed bars come in flavors like sea salt dark chocolate, macadamia white chocolate, caramel sea salt, and pumpkin seed cinnamon. I've always found the flavor and texture of these bars awesome and unique. You've got to try it at least once. I think you'll be hooked. And if you don't love Monk Pack as much as I do, they'll refund all of your money or exchange the product. You'll also get 20% off your first order when you go to monkpack.com and enter the code PACKMAN at checkout, or click the link in the description.